Auxiliary, Dr. Thomas Rotet.
It is recommended that the board approve the following for the 17-18 school year: resignation, coaches, volunteers, custodians, 18-19 coaches, and stipends to be determined contingent upon the submission of the necessary documentation.
Motion's on the floor. Is there a second? Second. Second. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Education Committee, Mrs. Eileen Weiser.
It is recommended that the board approve the following for the 2017-18 school year: policies, out-of-state trips, agreement, professional substitute teachers, paraprofessionals, long-term, part-time, paraprofessional, 2018 extended school year workers, maternity leave, unpaid days, contingent upon the submission of the necessary documentation, stipends to be established.
Make a motion to forego the readings.
So motion to forego the readings. Is there a second?
Second.
And second. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And I'll entertain a motion on Eileen's, second on Eileen's motion.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Finance Committee, Mr. Dan Shaner, Chair.
Recommended that the board approve the following for the 2017-18 school year as presented: tax report refunds, over income list, capital reserve fund, contingent upon the submission of the necessary documentation.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Made second. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
It is,
We'll need a separate motion for item 2.
okay. It is recommended that the board authorize the district to proceed with the agreement of sale for the former Rush Elementary School to the diocese of Allentown for the purchase price of $1.2 million.
Motion's on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Made second. Any questions? I have a comment. It should be known that that $1.2 million can be used only for capital projects. It's either repair of buildings, roofs, driveways, whatever. It cannot be used for general operations. It is reserved for capital projects only. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? Oh, roll call vote.
Mr. Boyle?
Aye.
Mrs. Dillman? Mrs. Miser?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Rother?
Yes.
Dr. Rotet?
Yes.
Mr. Shaner?
Yes.
Mr. Wittig?
Yes.
And Mrs. Zuber? Yes. 9-0, the motion passes.
Thank you. Proceed.
It is recommended that the board approve the purchase of an integrated communication system for Tamaqua High School at a cost not to exceed $150,000.
Motion's on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Made second. Any questions? Another comment on this. This goes along with our comprehensive plan for safety, which we will be talking about at some point in the future of the meetings. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Hearing Committee, Mrs. Wanda Zuber.
It is recommended that a middle school student be placed in Tamaqua Virtual Academy for the remainder of the 2017-2018 school calendar. Specific requirements for grades, attendance, and discipline must be met prior to the 2018-2019 school year before readmittance. The parish should submit a letter to the Tamaqua High School's principal for possible registration.
Motion's on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Made second. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
It is recommended that the board deny grievance 17B filed by the Tamaqua Education Association.
Motion's on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any second. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Communications, Connie?
I have one. We received a letter from Charlotte Hauser, and I circulated that to the board on 3/14, and I would just like to enter that into the minutes for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Connie. Payment of monthly board invoices, Dan.
Make the motion for the payment of the monthly board invoices.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any second? Any questions? I'm abstaining. All in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? I'm abstention. One abstention. 8 yes. Old business, new business, other business. Hearings. We'll now hear from the public on any topic relative to the Tamaqua School District. Yes, sir.
I just have one question.
Yes.
My name is Scott Savage. Now that you're going to sell Rush Elementary, what happens to the students that are in there now that are excelling?
I'm sorry, that are,
They're excelling in the program up there. What happens to the program?
Go ahead.
The programs are offered at numerous campuses through Behavioral Health Associates. So the students, again, depending upon what their situation is, students have different time frames for determining what the next part of their education would be. But if it's determined they need to stay in a program like that, they could be transferred to one of their other locations. Or I know BHA, if this indeed goes all the way through, is also looking for a new location. So it could be in a location that hasn't been determined yet.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
I apologize. We have one more point of operation through the Finance Committee, and that deals with the Rush deal. Dan, do you want to?
Yeah, a motion authorizing signature of the agent.
Okay, an authorization of signature, and that motion needs a second. Second. Made second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We now will move on to hearings again. Thank you, sir. Okay, motion to adjourn?
Yeah,
Hi, Karen Tharp, West Penn Township. Mr. Wittig has charged that the people who attended last month's meeting asking for his resignation were political adversaries from 15 years ago. He said we were here, he said this to the Times News, because we didn't like decisions about school uniforms and Sunday sports. Well, I was one of the people who attended that meeting, one of only 6 people who were here for that purpose, to be exact. 3 of the other people attending did not even have children 15 years ago, and I'm pretty sure I would remember if I had been involved in politics. It seems to me that Mr. Wittig is trying to deflect attention away from the scandal he has brought to the district by bringing up hot-button items and by blaming all of this on politics. My issue with Mr. Wittig's actions are not that he had an affair, but with the fact that he was an adult in a position of authority who had an admitted, and I stress admitted, relationship with a minor. He may not have been her coach at the time, but he was a coach on a team that still put him within her circle. She knew him as a coach, he knew her as a student athlete. The relationship was inappropriate, period. I'm aware it happened years ago. I agree, we all make mistakes, especially when we're young. And that doesn't mean that some people do not change and do better in their lives. But I also know that his position on the school board puts him in a position where he needs to pass judgment on other people, teachers, coaches, staff members, who may commit the same act that he did. People who work in education are held to a higher standard for obvious reasons. Anyone else caught in that type of relationship would lose their job immediately or would then not have been hired in the first place. I also do not think there are many parents of 17-year-old girls out there and in this room who would be happy to find out their daughter, or their son for that matter, was in a relationship with a much older coach or authority figure at their school. And yet those same people have defended him and allowed him to stay in his position. He has admitted to this inappropriate act. It is not speculation, and it is not okay. So no, I am not here, Mr. Wittig, because of politics or because I disagree with district policy. I'm here because you should not be serving on a school board. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
Yeah, I got something to say. People are carrying on about this would happen with Larry. It's years ago. A lot of us, myself, were only getting hot. Miller. Paul Miller.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's water under the bridge. If you guys want to do this, go look at your police force in these towns and everything else. You think that stuff isn't happening on with them? They have a badge. Instead of worrying about this stuff, worry about our kids being safe. That's what the main thing is. It's about the kids, not what he did, what the kids did. If he would have done this 2 years prior, then okay, I could see all this big commotion. It was years ago. He admitted it. He wasn't charged with the other thing. Let's let it go and focus on what our kids' safety is. If anybody picked up the paper today, it was in there. It was just another shooting in Maryland today. That could very easily happen here. Let's focus on that our kids get home safe, not this stuff, please.
Timothy Hauser, West Penn Township. I had the pleasure or displeasure of reading Ms. Stein's article in the newspaper tonight, which kind of got me mad. Exactly what he said. You know, journalism is great, and these journalists can tilt things to their own point of view. And when you read her article, it almost sounded like it happened within the last 5 years. And she said she's class of 71, or 2004. I'm class of 71 from Tamaqua. I know a lot of things that happened in this school over those years. I know 3 different teachers that were dating their students in Tamaqua. Very fortunately, those things turned into a marriage. Those people are still happily married today. Okay? But under the policies today that Mr. Wittig and this school board has initiated, the 0 tolerance, those teachers would have been thrown out of the school district and they would have lost their licenses to teach. Mr. Wittig and this school board has put the policy in to protect exactly what has happened in the past. So I agree with what you're saying, but those policies today are in place. I also know some teachers, oh, and by the way, while that was all going on, that was under the, Dr. Geiger was the administrator. Ray Kinder Sr., who I had as a teacher, and I admire him, he was a disciplinarian, and he did some things in the classroom. Sam Pagano did some things in the classroom. Today, they'd be let out of the classroom in handcuffs. So, that was then. You know, one of the worst things that Mr. Wittig had to do through this whole situation that happened 35 years ago was to sit down and face his adult children and tell them about the mistakes that he made in his life. 35 years ago. Since then, he has created jobs in Tamaqua. He has built a tremendous school board, has maintained our taxes at the very lowest possible level that they could, which I don't know if that's going to be able to be achieved in the future because of the pension situation in Pennsylvania. But I just hope and pray that this school board stands behind him, because he has done nothing but good for the last 35 years. And the last thing I'd like to say is all you people that want to admonish him, when you go to school, church on Sunday, if you go to church, before you go to church, open up the dictionary and read under forgiveness. That's all I have to say.
Anyone else?
My name is Christine Troxel, a resident of Walker Township and a taxpayer in the school district. I think there's a lot of good people in this area, work very hard for this community, and I'm saddened to see the tremendous black eye that Tamaqua has received as a result of our president on the school board. I ask you to reconsider. Thank you.
Anyone else? No?
Yeah.
Okay, you stood up
Well,
at
if
the
she
same
would
time.
like to go first, that's
Go
fine.
ahead.
Go ahead.
My name is April Walker. I'm a 1992 graduate of Tamaqua Area High School. I have personally known Larry since I was 13 years old, and he has never once been inappropriate towards me. He has only ever treated me with kindness and respect. Are we really at the point where there is no redemption when one has admitted his or her mistakes and has taken responsibility for them? What message are we sending to our kids with that? I am sure I speak for many of us here that we have all said or done things that we have regretted and are not proud of. Aside from the fact that we are talking about something that happened over 30 years ago. Long before Larry ever served on the school board, practically another lifetime, one has to ask, why dredge all of this up now? For what purpose? And this is not a matter of someone being violated. No one was violated. Larry, you are a good man, a faithful husband, a devoted father, a loyal friend, and a committed servant to this community. You don't deserve this ridiculousness. Don't give up and don't back down.
Hi, my name's Paula. I just want to clarify the
Sorry,
difference.
I'm sorry, your last name, please?
Sheetrum.
And you live in the district?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to clarify, first of all, the difference between a mistake and a choice. A mistake is made once and only once. A choice is made more than once. I understand we all make bad decisions. I'm guilty of them myself. But I'm not in a position of power or over children like you are. So we are asking for your resignation.
I don't want to turn this into a circus, but if there's anybody that wants to speak, raise your hand so we know, so we don't waste time. Yes, sir.
My name is Doug Hauser. I'm the elder of the brother. I do not live in the district, but I'm a graduate in 1964 at Tamaqua. I pay taxes in West Penn Township. We have several properties there. When I was finished with my appointments today, I sat down and picked up the Times News on my travels. And I was at home, and my wife, I said I was going to go to the school board meeting tonight. She said, "Don't go there, Doug." I said, "I have to go there." So I read the article, and I'm not here to judge who's still waiting one way or the other. Because in my years, everybody makes mistakes. And there's a lot of truth to what all you said. I'm here because I know how this school operated in the 1980s and 1990s when we had a previous school board. I do a lot of selling of real estate and in our business. When I met clients that asked me about the Tamaqua School Board back in those days, they wanted nothing to do with Tamaqua. Nothing, because the educational system was not up to par. I know Mr. Wittig. I would tell you this, it's my opinion only. I'm a former educator, retired teacher. When Mr. Wittig got on the board, as well as a lot of other good people on this board, things changed in Tamaqua, in the educational process. People now, when you tell them they come to Tamaqua, in fact, I have a lot of people calling me, West Penn and Rush Township, how are the schools up there? I have nothing but grade A to give them. Right? I came here because I just think that article in the paper today was a hit job. These people that sit on the board, they don't get paid. They're there because they want to do good for this district. I would only urge you people on the board to support your president. People make mistakes, but this district has come a long way. I come from Parkland. Everybody knows Parkland School District. Tamaqua is getting to that par of where Parkland is. So I would urge the board members, and I don't know all of you, I know some of you, please support your president.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Roxanne Banditelli. I'm a 1990 graduate of Tamaqua Area School District.
I'm sorry, where you live in Tamaqua?
I live in Tamaqua. I live in Owl Creek. I am a 1990 graduate of Tamaqua School District. And I want to say that all of you people on the board have been voted into your position. And you are all smart and intelligent, and you make good decisions, and that's why you're there. And so I only hope that you go with your heart when you make decisions, and you make good choices, not for one cause, but for the cause of the school district and the children. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Over here.
Jenny Miller, live in West Penn Township. Just very brief, I sat on the board with most of these people for 4 years. Hardest job of my life. Anybody want to sit on that side of the table? It's a tough job. But it was the most rewarding 4 years in terms of most of the people that are on the board now that I sat with. It was an honor to serve with them, and I don't know what else to say. Sorry.
Okay, it's getting, yes.
My name is Liz Pinky, 237 West Broad. I was here by myself and I spoke alone last meeting and I asked for your resignation. I've come back tonight and there are more voices here and we are not going to be silenced and we are going to continue to come here until what is right is done and you step down. If the writing isn't on the wall, Philadelphia Reporter is not going to let this lie. There are continuing ongoing investigations by the right organizations. If USA Rowing is anything like USA Swimming, they're not going to stop until they get to the bottom of everything, and they have zero tolerance. Doesn't matter if it happened today, yesterday, or 30 years ago. So I urge you, before Tamaqua continues to be maligned in the press, a paper that is read by many, many people, both in the area and out of the area, to step away from this board and step away from the children of this district and let us move on with the more important things of this district. Thank you.
My name is Eileen Kmetz. I don't live in the district, but when I was born, I lived here until I got married and moved all the way to Waikato. I just want to say that reporter from Philadelphia is not a journalist in the sense that I was taught to be. Not that I am now, I'm a CPA. But we were always taught that in journalism in school, that it was a who, what, when, where, and why, and that you report facts. You don't report innuendos, you don't report half facts, you don't give a biased point of view. I really see that reporter from Philadelphia is not going after substantiation for a lot of the claims that she's making in the paper. She's painting a very bad picture where there is none. She just doesn't substantiate things. She's irresponsible. And I would challenge the local press to do a much better job. I think she's going after a Pulitzer Prize, trying to crack a big story. And I would challenge the local press to go out there and prove how someone can destroy someone else's life just by biased press, irresponsible reporting, and getting on the bandwagon with the Me Too movement, which I think that woman was taken advantage of. There are women out there who have been abused, but Larry never abused anyone.
Hi, my name is Alexandra Miller. I'm a 2013 graduate of Tamaqua School District, currently live in West Penn. Now, as very well crafted, you're taught in school at a very young age as well into your college years what is real press and what is not. And I'm not here to pick a side tonight, but to highlight the fact that there are a million things going on with our youth in this country right now. I have two siblings who are currently still enrolled. They are both seniors. And I ask that a focus be put on them, not saying to diminish any of your beliefs on behalf, but an equal focus here. But a focus needs to be shifted to the kids and what they're dealing with. The fact that there's kids out there coming home, crying, kids don't want to go to school, they're afraid to go to school, they're afraid what people think. If we continue to foster and fester on things rather than our children and their education, which is the forefront of our school board, is to ensure that children are happy and content and learning and fully granted. So with the school board in their positions, regardless of what any member may have done or not have done legally or illegally withheld in their standings, is what they're doing in this moment is just, and they are creating a future for our children and siblings and relatives, nieces and nephews, that conduce to productivity and the leading and forefront of our future leaders. Then what is wrong with what has been doing is going to help them lead to a brighter future. I ask that we focus on the youth and where their futures are, and if the school board is doing their role, and they're continuing to do that, which I've seen right now, the school board has flourished greatly since I've graduated, and my siblings have had millions of opportunities within the past 4 or 5 years that I couldn't have imagined having when I was in school. And I would just like to thank the school board for the work that they've done and admonish them for the future leaders that they're sending out into our community.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name's Blake Tharp. I'm from New Ringgold. I live there with my wife, my 12-year-old son, who's a middle schooler at Tamaqua Middle School. I'm not from the area originally. I'm from Allentown, and I currently work down near Philadelphia. So I have colleagues and cohorts from surrounding communities, and I'd like the board to help me here because my friends are giving me the business, or they're giving me grief. They're saying, whenever I mention Tamaqua, they say, well, what's going on with the school board up there? How can they have a president of the school board have these allegations against him? How he has admitted to having sex with a minor, and he's still there. If it were a teacher that had done that, or if it were a youth coach, or anyone involved with kids, they would no longer be allowed to serve in that position. So, lost my train of thought. So anyhow, I'd like the board to help me with answering the question, because Mr. Wittig, he resigned from his Pennsylvania State Board of Education presidency, but yet he stays here, and he let it in the hands of the school board, the other school board members. So I'd like to hear from the school board members, how can this be justified, or what's the rationale for allowing this to continue? Is it that the victim knew what she was doing? Did she coerce him? It was off. Is she to blame, the victim, or is that it was 30 years ago? We heard that, or is it because thou shalt not cast stones? We heard that. We shouldn't judge others, so look away. Or is it because all these other great things he's done that eliminates that blemish? I don't know. I just like to have an answer so I can greet my colleagues with this. I mean, it's not, many years ago, 30 years ago or so, we could get away with this sweeping under the rug. We could pay money, make things disappear. We could just ignore things that would go away. But we're in the world of the internet, the world of social media. This is not going to go away. If anything, it's going to get bigger and darker and uglier. And, I'm just kind of, embarrassed being a part of the community to have to kind of justify why this is going on. So, especially we have this hashtag #MeToo and hashtag Time's Up. Just how can this go on, allowed to go on today? So, any of the school board members that would like to help me out, answer this question, my time's up, time's yours.
Anyone else? There's a hand back here.
I just have one question. My name is
Nick.
Carol Tempest. I'm a 1975 graduate of Tamaqua High School. The only question I have is there anyone here that can say anything that Larry Wittig has done since the time he has been with Tamaqua Area School District that has disgraced or has done anything to any of our children? I think not.
Okay. Nick,
To answer your question, sir, so,
just for the record, we typically do not respond to hearings. We listen to hearings. But I make an exception.
I think it should be known here. So in the state of Pennsylvania, I think your battle's not with us. I think your battle's with Harrisburg. So in the state of Pennsylvania now, if a athlete would date a coach in the high school setting, that is illegal. Okay, there is laws against that. In the collegiate setting, you cannot date somebody on your team. So if you are a baseball coach, you can date a softball player. That's legal. That's that. So if your friends ask you, that's what you can tell them.
Regardless of the age of the individuals?
Age of consent in Pennsylvania, sir. And whatever it was in 1982, I'm not sure, I wasn't born then, but I bet it was a lot different than what it is now. But today's laws, as far as institutional sexual assault, if you are not their coach, it's perfectly legal. And I think your argument's with Harrisburg.
I'm going to offer one more comment to answer the gentleman's question who spoke previously, is that the State Board of Education is an appointed position. It is you serve as chair at the pleasure of the governor. Before anything even hit, I resigned to avoid the governor being embarrassed and the state board being embarrassed, because I didn't want them to be dragged into anything. This is an elected position, elected. The school board has nothing to do with me being up here, nothing. I was elected for a one-year term as president. I am the only one that determines whether I step down or not. I'm not going to. So you can your beef with these guys is unwarranted because they don't have any control over that situation which you're so concerned about. Motion to adjourn, please. Second? Second. All in favor? Thank you all for coming.